back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the victims rest in peace. Condolence to their families. This is the latest update.
I am Justin Core. We are just now getting a look at new documents in the case against Brian Kohberger, the man charged for murdering 4 University of Idaho students last November. Kohberger's defense team is requesting full disclosure regarding a key piece of evidence. They want to know the entire process of how investigators matched Kohberger's DNA to the crime scene. Investigators used a process called Investigative Genetic Genealogy, IgG, to collect and ultimately match the DNA to a knife sheath found at the crime scene. This DNA match is possibly the prosecutor's strongest piece of evidence against Kohberger, and the defense wants to know exactly how the genetic genealogy process works. Meanwhile, as far as what is happening right now, FBI investigators are currently at the King Road house, taking another look inside that Moscow home where those 4 college students were stabbed to death. The FBI gathering information to build a physical model of the home for the upcoming trial of Kohberger. NBC's Miguel Almaguer has more.
The doors of 1122 King Road have remained closed for months now, its windows covered in plywood after 4 students living in the Moscow, Idaho home were stabbed to death there almost 1 year ago. But this week, FBI agents are once again entering the home to get more information as the prosecution prepares for suspect Brian Kohberger's long-awaited trial. The University of Idaho says investigators asked to gather documentation in the home that will help them construct visual and audio exhibits and a physical model of the home.
One of the reasons I think that they're trying to do this is so that they can perfectly depict to the jurors where each piece of evidence was and why the placement of that evidence would be considered important.
Police say they recovered a knife sheath in the bed in which Kaylee Gonzalez and Madison Mogan were found dead on the 3rd floor of the home. Prosecutors allege that Kohberger's DNA proved to be a statistical match to DNA taken from the knife sheath. XANA Kernodle and Ethan Chapin's bodies were found in a room on the 2nd floor of the home. One of the 2 surviving roommates was in her own bedroom on the 2nd floor around the time of the murders, when she told police she saw a man in black clothes and a mask walk past her. She says she stood in shock as the man walked toward the sliding glass door leading out of the house before locking herself in her bedroom. The victims' families fought to keep the house standing until the trial is over. In a statement Tuesday, the family of Kaylee Gonzalez and the father of XANA Kernodle said they were grateful the university paused its plans to demolish it.
It's a huge piece of evidence. It's actually the largest piece of evidence in the trial.
Now back to the DNA process that the judge will review. Tomorrow morning, the judge will independently review that genealogy DNA matching process that investigators used to link Kohberger to that crime scene. Then the judge will decide if he is going to hand that information over to Kohberger's defense team. Again, that DNA was matched to DNA on a knife sheath found right there at the crime scene.
The leather knife sheath that was found near Maddie's body, may she rest in peace, is a touch DNA. So I wonder if the judge is going to rule in that the defense can see the forensic genealogical DNA test that they have come to. And I really hope that the 3 unidentified male DNAs are submitted to the defense attorney so that they can actually understand how Brian Christopher Kohberger was linked to this horrific quadruple murders. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But if the DNA evidence is not handed over by the prosecution, then that is the issue itself. I wonder why it is taking so long for the prosecution to hand over the DNA evidence. Touch DNA can come from shaking someone's hand, and the person can go and commit a murder. Your DNA will go along with that. I really am looking forward to seeing how they connected Brian Christopher Kohberger to these horrific murders. Because it's important for the defense attorney to have the roadmap so that they understand exactly where the person they're defending, in this case Brian Kohberger, was, and if he even entered that house. Let's not forget that in the beginning of this case, we were told that DM, one of the surviving roommates, was sleeping in the first floor. I'm very, very curious to find out how, within 7 weeks later, when the affidavit came out, it was stated that DM is actually a witness, that she was on the second floor and she witnessed someone with black clothing, a mask, and bushy eyebrows. Wouldn't that be something that DM would have said at the beginning of this case? Wouldn't she have been a witness from the start? Because let's not forget, Chief Fry said in his press conference that the surviving roommates were not witness, they were just there. So when did DM move from the first floor to the second floor? And now that we're hearing rumors, allegedly, that DM and BF were actually texting each other while the active murders was going on. There were so many dodgy movements going on that day, that night. We saw the Banfield body cam of the three guys who seemed to be very anxious. They didn't stop for the police, the undercover cops, when they were told to stop. We saw Saeed watching some concerning pictures. We saw 4 to 5 figures running. They were running literally from the direction of the crime scene towards the Sigma Chi. And that always leads me back to the 4chan. Although it's an anonymous person who wrote it, and it's not facts, the 4chan has a lot of explanation of motives, targets, and we know that there was a fight in the Sigma Chi fraternity. How come all those things and all these people are ruled out? The president of the Sigma Chi said that they do not have cameras. So if any of the students left the fraternities and went down to King's Road, it wouldn't have come up in a camera. And they said in the 4chan post that they would go without phone devices so that it wouldn't catch King Road is Wi-Fi. What was the fight that Eaton and XANA and the people in the Sigma Chi fraternity party had? What was it over? We've heard rumors that it was over one of the fraternity boys using steroids, and he and Eaton exchanged some words, which led into a fight. This is for fair use purpose. Please like, share, and subscribe. In the interview room, Chris McDonough. He's a former police officer, detective, who worked over 30 years in San Diego, who has a lot of experience. Chris was the person who found the glove outside the King Road's resident. That is supposed to be one of the DNAs, unidentified DNAs. Chris was excellent to find the spot at 2 hours and 55 minutes and 15 seconds, you will hear on the undercover cop in Banfield is recording that a female is saying, stop it. And that is really concerning. Was it just somebody was playing around? Or was it coming from the house itself? Or was it coming from the Sigma Chi?
Go to 2:55 and 16 seconds. All right? Put your seatbelts on. And I'm going to play this a bunch of times.
Driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general. Also birthday?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general. Also birthday?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No,
Okay. Oops, where did it go?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, at 02:55:16, you can hear, and this is another part. If you have headsets, put your headsets on or put your earbuds in. Okay, we're going to take a second here. Put your headsets and your earbuds on. Okay. At 02:55 and 16 seconds, and I did a bunch of replays here. And this microphone is facing the house on that body camera. Okay? Tell me what you hear.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general. Also birthday?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
I've listened to this thing 1,000 times. I'm going to submit to you, somebody is saying, stop. Now, who that is, I have no idea. But as an investigator, if I was on this case, I would say, what am I hearing here? And isolate this audio. Okay, very carefully. Listen to it again on replay.
Birthday.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general. Also birthday?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
What? No, in general. Also birthday?
Yeah, lucky birthday.
You have driver's license?
I don't have it.
Okay, now this one is the other officer who is writing a ticket, and it's a little bit further up at about 312.45, where I saw some things where people were saying, yeah, there's somebody else yelling in that. I don't think so. I think it's the officer ripping his ticket and handing it to the individual. I've blurred them out because they were all juveniles. Okay, so you're going to just hear a click, and that is not somebody in the background, okay, i.e. a person. It is a ticket book. Right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now, this is the other video, or excuse me, the other camera on the other officers who's up by, now facing towards the house again at also 02:55:16. And this is what I think I hear.
Yeah.
19.
Yep.
Okay. That one is a little clearer. Stop it. Stop. I'm going to play it again. Listen.
19. Yep.
Okay. 021. Karen, what do you think?
So at 2 hours, 55 minutes and 16 seconds, you hear it clearly, a female yelling, stop it, stop. My question is it coming from the King's house? I mean King's Road, 1122? Or is it coming from the Sigma Chi fraternity? Wherever it is coming from, it sounds a bit concerning. What is strange about this is at 2:52 was the last time Kaylee and Maddie called Jack D. So 2 to 3 minutes after that, you hear someone saying or yelling, "Stop it, stop." Was it coming from the house? Was it coming from the Sigma Chi? I believe it could be coming from either the house, right after they called Jack D, or allegedly it could be coming from the Sigma Chi field, because that is not far from where the body cam and the undercover police are. But I believe it's coming from Kaylee or Maddie, honestly, because I personally believe that something happened to XANA and Ethan around 2 to 2:15 to 2:20, because the people in the grub truck were clearly watching some disturbing pictures and they were yelling XANA's name many times, plenty of times. Let's not forget that Ethan's mother said 2 a.m. is the hardest time for her. So what happened at 2 a.m.? And why is Ethan's vehicles and golf set frozen for the defense? All the other belongings of the victims have been returned to their families, but Ethan's vehicles and golf set is frozen. I'm just thinking out loud, could it be possible that Ethan and XANA were unlived and put in the vehicle for a while? Did the vehicle have DNA evidence? Was the golf set used on the poor victims? Because this was a horrific crime scene, and we heard the coroner saying that it was a sharp object. It doesn't necessarily have to mean a knife. Different sharp objects could have been used, trigger warning, in this case, because we're talking about 4 victims, and I wouldn't assume that the suspect or suspects would just go with one knife. Where was Hunter that night? Was he part of the Sigma fraternity party? I feel sorry for him. Did he know what was going on? Because if he was in the party, he would have witnessed the fight. This doesn't make sense at all. Or did something happen to Ethan and XANA after they left the party? That could be the reason that Hunter did not know what was going on. The reason I say that I believe that this was 2 separate incidents is because I believe that XANA and Ethan were having issues with the people in the Sigma fraternity, and the president of the Sigma fraternity clearly said that there was no cameras. The 4 figures running, and all this makes it seem like the 4chan article is very right, because there's motives written there that they didn't like Ethan, XANA, and Maddie, may they rest in peace. And those 3 were the targets for the 4chan. They explained how they were going to do this horrific unlivings. They said that they wouldn't take any phone devices. And we saw the 4 or 5 figures running. And I think that is crucial, because we never heard about who those figures were, or if the police ever found them. Could it have been XANA yelling, "Stop it, stop"? How come nobody saw Eaton and XANA, even on social media, after 9 o'clock? Did something happen to them? But we have XANA's father saying that he spoke to her around 12 o'clock and she said she was going to chill at home and order a pizza. So why would XANA be ordering food twice within 4 hours? XANA's TikTok could have been left open. It doesn't necessarily mean that XANA was on a TikTok. This could have been a staged crime, easily, because we have 8 hours, almost 8 hours that nobody called 911. And after the surviving roommates allegedly found the 4 victims, or they couldn't get into XANA's room, they called the Sigma fraternity people, or boys. Because, God forbid, if a crime happens, if you witness somebody being unalived, the first thing people would do if they have nothing to hide is call law enforcement. That's the correct thing to do. Let's not forget, law enforcement are very trained in such situations. They would have broke down the door, or they would have known exactly what to do. But it seems like the people in the house were buying time.
Two a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. It's never going to go away. And it's a very different, 2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. 2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. And it's a very different, 2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that. You wake up and you realize it's never going to go away. And it's a very different, 2 a.m. is a dark hour, I can tell you that.
2 a.m. is a very difficult hour for all. So did all the 4 students be unalived at 2 a.m.? The coroner said that the deaths were pronounced at 2 a.m., after 2 a.m. That is what was happening around 2 a.m. The crowd was calling XANA's name. Please pay attention to the guy in red and that group. Now Joe Vito is watching his phone. I'll show you all his pictures soon. But listen to that group. XANA. 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 Eaton, his mother, said 2 a.m. is hard for all. And that group is yelling XANA's name at 2 a.m. We heard "Stop it, stop" at 2:55. That's the reason I believe it's 2 separate incidents. Kaylee and Maddie, trigger warning, must have been unalived around 2:55 and 16 seconds. XANA and Eaton were unalived much earlier. Because it's like a puzzle. if you put all these things together, what Ethan, his mother, said 2 a.m. is hard for all. That means something happened at 2 a.m. and these people are yelling out XANA's name. Was there a fight? Was XANA and Ethan targeted in Sigma Chi, in the party? There's no cameras there allegedly, or the cameras were taken out on purpose. And one final thing that I want to mention is I wonder if all this was on some kind of live stream, because so many people couldn't have been watching it in the grub truck, allegedly, Saeed in the Banfield, watching concerning pictures. Then you have the 3 boys who are stopped by the undercover cops, watching their mobile devices. We have all these groups over here. We have Jovita watching his mobile device. You can clearly see what Jovita is watching. It's figures. That group is yelling XANA's name. And we have Ethan, his mother, saying 2 a.m. is the hardest time. And we have the coroner saying that the deaths were after 2 a.m. So I believe XANA and Ethan, unfortunately, were unalived around 2 a.m. to 2:15. Was there a struggle outside? Did something happen while Ethan was in his vehicle? Because why are the vehicles frozen? And why is Ethan's golf set frozen too? You can see Jovita watching some figures which I've showed plenty of times. Justice for the victims. May the real suspects or suspect be brought to trial. If Brian Koberger is innocent, then he should get his fair chance, no matter what, for the prosecution to submit the DNA and the genealogical DNA and the 3 unidentified male DNAs too. But I don't see much motive right now on Brian Koberger. I see more motives with the Sigma fraternity when it comes to Ethan and XANA. When it comes to Maddie and Kaylee, I personally believe it has to do with what was said to Adam and whatever happened in the corner club. I believe things escalated from the corner club because it looked like all these people in and around the grub truck were plotting against Maddie and Kaylee. They all were watching them. Most of the time in the grub truck, Kaylee was on a mobile device. She was on a phone device. You have the guy with the black tracksuit sitting behind, and he keeps on with that woman. He keeps on looking at Kaylee and Maddie. I believe while Kaylee and Maddie were in the grub truck, something was already happening to Ethan and XANA. The question is, where were the 2 surviving roommates? Many people say that they believe John S. was just there escorting the girls. I personally do not believe that. With all his behaviors and characters and his previous history, harassing females, I just don't buy that. I don't see that in him. And I don't understand how the coroner can say that the toxicological reports are not important. They're extremely important. Because may the rest in peace, Maddie couldn't stand properly. I don't think she was just intoxicated. A roofie could have been put in a drink, allegedly. I believe personally number 9 was putting something into Maddie's mouth. So I don't understand how such things are not being properly investigated. John Jack Showalter took that car that you see the red lights on that was waiting for him. It was a red Mustang. And the strange thing is a red Mustang was found 10 minutes from the girl's house, and it was in an accident, I believe. It crashed. The forensics team were in and outside the car taking pictures and taking forensic evidence of it. Jack Showalter allegedly drove from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. to his parents' cabin in Boise, Idaho. And that doesn't make sense. Why would he just drive late at night, 6 hours away, on a Saturday night, unless he was allegedly involved or he knew something? The only people that can say that they saw him and back up his alibi is his parents. And that is not good enough, allegedly. Even if these students weren't involved, they knew that something was happening to these 4 victims, which is really heartbreaking. And we can clearly see these 3 boys on their mobile device, on their phone device, at the same time. What was actually happening? May these victims get justice. Condolence to their family. Please like, share, and subscribe.